Okay, so alright, this here is going to be
Sit.
collected company in the league.
Sit.
Ended up going 3-2, so match 1 and start. See how this went. Oh yeah, this is that black-green mid-range deck.
Yep,
Decent
good old
deck.
rock.
Decent deck, I would definitely say. Super fair. This is a super good deck overall. Granted, it can't beat Tron, which is similar.
Mhm.
And it's
Well,
also
one
like
thing too that we found out after the first game was that
and
this actually
white.
was it was Abzan.
It is Absent. You're
After
right.
the first game, in game 2 he played God the Shrine, which
Yeah.
kind of gave it away. But pretty much this whole match, he kind of had just the nut. Um, pretty much perfectly answered whatever we were doing. So
Everything. And
not
his
a whole lot
clip
we could
just
do
kept
about it.
getting
But
bigger and
tried
bigger
valiantly.
and bigger. Yeah. So see, but we fought the good fight. You know, we fought until the end here, until as far as we can go. Yeah, this is where we did the block, killed Noble Hierarch, and I hit
Just for spite.
Liliana. Mm-hmm. Made sense, yeah, absolutely. Gosh, I mean, it's just like it's like there's I don't know what I could have.
Yeah,
I
this
think
matchup just feels like it's not the
that.
best
Yep, and
to
then I
begin with,
see.
and I feel like
I
that's
should
like the
have
one
pressed
weakness
back
of
to lead.
the counters company deck to begin with, is the
Yeah,
fact that you can just like it doesn't duel the mid range versions of like Jund and Abzan as well as regular old Jund and Abzan. Like this one is a lot
yeah,
more susceptible to all their thought seizes, inquisitions, all their removal. As we're seeing here, being Inquisition into Fatal Push, case in point of why that's not necessarily always the best matchup.
yeah. I would have to agree. Removal, hand removal is really good against me, and obviously creature removal is probably the best thing they could really be doing. Um,
Yeah, it's just being able to cast. If you look at the cards they actually cast this game, he's casting a copy of Inquisition. He's taken all the basically taking your combo part already. Then he followed up with a Fatal Push, kill your thing. He played a Path to Exile to after that. Basically, just 1 mana answering all of your 2 and 3 mana cards, and still at the same time extending his own
yeah,
board state. In
yeah,
fact,
yeah.
has a green player that's going to be huge. He's got a Liliana that's ticking up and just going to town. Basically going to pound town on you.
And here it's like we have to top deck something. We're really in need of something. I think that is probably the best guy too as well. To path. Okay, good.
I think
Yeah,
one
well,
thing
yeah,
I would
that's
have done
right.
differently in hindsight is, and I didn't even think about this till just now, is that if we had Path that Stirring Wildwood instead of
Yeah,
the 2/2, yeah, he
yeah,
doesn't have to put mana into that 2/2, but it's a lot easier to kill because if we just naturally draw a uh, a Fiend Hunter or something of that nature, um,
yeah. Some that
we
at
can
least
actually
I
hit
mean,
it.
at least you have to keep paying mana, and you are. I mean, it is a toss up. Because the one that we path, um, that yeah, the Grim Flare. That was allowing him to kind of choose what he was going to get next turn. I don't know. At this point, like we're not in horrific shape, even though on board state we are.
Right.
It's like
We had a couple of really bad misses on that collective companies. The past
yeah.
2 or 3 of them.
Here it's like we're
And
really
and we fought
close.
like again, like you said, we fought pretty valiantly. It's not like we did anything super wrong.
A lot of people would have quit. Yeah, I think at
We
this
just we
point.
couldn't be the top of his deck.
Mm-hmm. Here's this. What do we do here? Do we just take it? Oh, I think here actually I do
Yeah, we
Viscer's
block him
Seer
and
block sack. Yeah. I think I would bottom that because it didn't. I mean, ugh. Should have kept at the top. I think he'd removal, yeah.
yeah, we killed that. Got some pressure in play and punched you down to 2.
Two, and then, okay, yeah, then that was match one. That was a bit, that one was a bit harsh. Match two, though, we did apparently much better.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh,
And
that's right.
this is against the Eldrazi Tron, and this is
Yay.
one reason to play the counters company over the regular
Exactly.
Abzan or regular Jund. Is that
This
it is
is,
purely
yeah.
that Tron matchup because you can just
Oh,
in
And
it's
how
really showing its game,
resistant.
which is
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, it shows kind of at least how resistant in some ways this combo is, because a chalice on one typically be really good, and I do remember us quarter calling here for one. That
Hmm.
pretty much was what sealed the deal for us.
Yep, because he, and just showing the fact that this deck can fight through even something as backbreaking as Chalice
Oh,
on 1 and 2.
and on two, like that's wow,
Like
like that's wow.
Chalice on 1 isn't that good against this deck, but
Mm-hmm.
Chalice on 2 is a beating.
Is
And that's why you
absolutely.
have when you have access to Collect Company and you have access to Court of Calling and stuff like that. And this time, if I remember correctly, we
Oh,
hit the combo.
that's right.
We didn't
We're
hit the
like,
combo, but
or yeah, yeah, and we're like, okay, there's nothing wrong with double visor. Yeah, that's right. Right at the end of his turn, did that. Oh, we put counters and everything. Perfect. That's right. That's right. And the guy couldn't handle that. Okay.
mhm.
Game two. That was sick. Like that was actually just like a good just value town fair game there, which is kind of shows a little bit of the fair game of this. Like that was kind of ridiculous. Yeah, just the possibility of turn two victories is kind of broken.
Mhm.
And the cards you need in your hand aren't like that amazing. It's not like it has to be. It's just
Well, this deck
Devoted
can't technically
Druid,
turn 2, can it?
Visors
Because
here. Well, no,
Devoted
yeah,
Druid
no, it can.
has Summer
If
Sickness.
you play, if you're right, it can't. You can't win by turn two. You're absolutely right. It's
Yeah.
turn three. That's true.
This one here, just again, fighting through all that hate is like, whatever.
Absolutely, yeah. And like here he had hate. Then he had hate.
Mhm.
Granted, Abrupt Decay was a onesie, and that was kind of nice that we had that. This deck doesn't have much in respect to removal. However, it really doesn't seem to play a big factor. Here I wondered it would have mattered. Or oh, I guess no. Yeah, we did want to do that then, so we could.
This
In fact, we
game,
just
in
took
this
the
game, we
floor.
basically just abused the Nikes out of
Yeah.
Eternal Witness, Court of Calling synergies.
Oh, perfect. Look at that. Oh my word. Like that is some synergy. And then he just quit. He couldn't even.
Yep.
It's just like
And at
this
that
is
point, the rating's on the
ridiculous.
wall. I can't really blame him for quitting there because if he doesn't have a way to kill one of those two, he knows the game's just over on his next turn. Because you can just court for the thing and eventually draw a Walking Blast and kill. Um,
Round
so this
three
game,
here.
this game
Let's
was an
see.
interesting one because we had no idea what he was playing at the time. We saw the first couple
Oh,
turns, and in oh wait, no,
yeah.
this is a different match. This is
That's yep.
the
This is
human
the
human.
humans, which is a great deck. Which is,
Mhm.
and it's actually just getting. I don't know if it's necessarily gaining popularity now because I don't know if there's stuff that's out now that makes it better. I want to say there is, but I just can't think of it because I have
There,
been seeing more of it.
there really isn't a lot that's making it better. It's just the overall metagame of Modern because it's in such a good place right now because there's so many decks that can be good. This is just an example of another one of those decks that like you wouldn't think of being that good, but is
Yeah.
like sleeper OP. Because if you look at Anna Fenz's ability, I believe one of her other effects is that she exiles things if they go to the graveyard,
Which it definitely does play a
which is
factor here.
relevant,
This
So
year, just yeah, and this is where I started really working on my clicks. I mean, all these games I was working on the clicks, just adding that up, and it's obviously at this point. Yeah,
spoiler alert,
it's.
he goes infinite and does the stuff.
Yeah. And luckily we get to kind of watch this in high velocity magic
Yeah.
speed.
This was the point at which I got up and went and got a thing of ice cream because this was so slow.
Yeah. I think it was right around 22, maybe a little bit more than 22 minutes when I started this devoted Druid thing. So it's kind of an interesting way to look at it as well. We'll see how fast. The devoted Druid, the way to do it is you have to. You really have to. You have to click, and then you have to release the mouse, move it to another part of the card, and then click again real fast. And then always choose the upper portion, because that's how it works. And then this here, all right, we're moving, we're trucking. Some Dusk Watches, and we're just doing some digging. At this point, though, it's just kind of funny how the opponent, like, this is an example, yeah, as we always talk about, where in paper, somebody would be quitting right now. Because, I mean, maybe in paper, they don't know at this point, maybe he wouldn't know, that I happen to have Walking Ballista, because that is like the newest aspect, I would suppose, of this deck. Would kind of, it really is something that makes this deck a deck.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow, we got
Well,
that
there's all the cards that make this deck a thing have come out in the last like 2 sets. Um, really being or the last 2 blocks rather. Amin kept bringing Vizier, which is the infinite
Oh
mana part of it,
yeah,
and then Walking Blessed
definitely,
out
definitely.
of Kaladesh. Without even this, basically what that means is that this is a deck that's jumped from non-existent to tier 1 in modern in less than a year,
Definitely.
and really less than 6 months.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
And it really kind of has replaced what what Pod would have been like. I mean, I guess that's the only thing I could most likely compare it closest to. I mean, it's that green, white, black deck that was like Pod. I mean, I don't know. Yeah.
and Pod, Pod was kind of a whole different animal. It kind of also abused the creature synergies in general, and that's what this deck does. Is this deck is really just trying to really wail on that. Now, this match took longer than it had any right to because basically we had to click through everything. We actually had the discussion when this was happening at the time of the fact that like, if this was in paper, you could just flip through your cards, and be like, hey, I have all these creatures in my hand. I'm casting all the green ones,
Yeah.
and that'd be it. Um, but instead, you got to click through on Magic Online. We've talked. And that's always been that catch-22 of Magic Online is that like it's really nice because you can build whatever deck you want and you don't have to try to track down the physical copies of cards and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, there's times like this that there's pros and cons playing online. Online, you can't miss like must-have triggered abilities. Like the game will literally remind you and tell you, hey, this is a thing that's going on, and triggered abilities in general.
Yeah.
Downside is by doing all that, it also means that when you demonstrate a loop like this, you can't actually demonstrate a loop because you can't just be like, hey, I've proven that I can do this a billion times.
Definitely.
You have to click through it every single time, which it's always that catch-22. There's pros and cons to both, but at the end of the day, obviously, it works out. And
it still works out. Yeah. I tried to be as quick as a gunslinger on my clicks. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And it is kind of a shame that because that's definitely not at all what Wizards want. Wizards, I would assume they really want a really clear transparency between the quality of their paper game to pretty much bleed out into their online market. They ideally want it to be the exact same game, I would assume. But unfortunately, because of these certain things that are really hard to assume until you actually see them in play, like clicking through every permutation and all this stuff. You just don't really expect that. And that does kind of suck, because I do think that there are people who would not play this deck online purely because of this. So,
right, and it's very kind of imposing to new players who want to like pick up the deck, or people who are just new in general to Magic. Like, in general, people who are new to Magic probably shouldn't be playing Modern to begin with because it's so complex.
Yeah.
But more along the lines of it's if you want to play the second paper, right? So like you've had the second paper, you really enjoyed it, all that stuff. If you want to get it online to do all this testing, and then you run into this problem, it kind of discourages you from continuing to play the game. Now that being said, don't get me wrong, I love Magic Online. Its existence is phenomenal. It's an awesome program. It's an awesome way to spend my time. It's great.
Great way to
but
train.
Everything has and everything has its flaws. I mean, anything, any game, anything, anywhere, and honestly, other than the slight issues that you have with that, with clicking through infinite mana, which first of all, when Magic was designed, infinite mana wasn't even supposed to be a thing. To be fair, but and that's a fair drawback in my opinion. Like, yeah, it probably shouldn't be like it should like having to worry about not being able to get your infinite mana in a reasonable amount of time is relevant. Like I can see the argument for it, but at the end of the day, you're still winning the game. Like, and this is your cost of playing back. Is that if you don't know what you're doing with it, not to say if you don't understand to play something different, but it's just
absolutely. I don't know. And one reason, at least, to kind of take a little turn here is that like. Yeah, very beautiful. This just showed how versatile and how resistant in a way this deck is, because that's Stony Silence, and we totally got him. So that was Round 3, beautiful round 4 here.
Round 4 was an interesting one.
It does say, let's see here. Oh yeah, this guy. This guy was, he will forever be known as the one who plays a fetch land, cracks it, and just
He
plays
just
a
does not
shock
care.
land tapped and just says go. Go.
Basically saying, I do not think that you have. I don't think you guys can do anything.
Yeah.
Screw you. I'm just
Yield
doing
till
my
end of
thing.
turn. I'm not gonna care about what's going on, anything. And then he does this, and then it all makes sense. I mean, this.
He's basically just saying, I'm gonna eat my Cheerios. Screw you if you don't
Eat
like
my,
it.
I'm eating Cheerios, definitely. This is insane. Like watching that was the reason why I was like, I have to own this. That seems so fun and easy. And this guy,
Yeah.
this is one of those decks
Well,
that actually
this
be
deck
easy to play.
this deck
online.
reminds me a lot of Manaless Dredge and Legacy. It's just like you can get hated out, and if you do, you just kind of accept it. You're like, whatever. But
Yeah, but if you
you
win,
can just do this stupid shit to people.
yeah,
And it's weird.
I guess there must be some sort of like great feeling, and I have no doubt it would be like to do this to Brian Kibler or to anybody, because you could do it to anybody.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on, let me get my mouse here.
Well, I mean, if you like playing solitaire.
Yeah, right.
I've always, and maybe that's just me being super Soulboy 9000, but I've always thought like Infinite, like decks like that, not necessarily decks like the one that you're playing because they have more game than just doing their combo, but decks that just combo or lose. I've always just kind of lame. Like
Oh,
you're
what's the
literally
worst
saying
one?
that if I don't want my opponent to interact with me because I'm going to kill them. If they do interact with me, I'm just going to say screw it, I lose. It's
Yeah.
like
Which one is it? Like Crack Clan Ironworks?
yep, Cart Clan Ironworks is another one where it does its thing and casts an Emrakul and punches you in the face. But it's like, okay, like I don't understand how that's fun. And maybe again, it's just me being super
And
soft.
it takes a long time to even get to that, I think. Like, or at least I believe I remember, like, the professor was talking about that in Telerian, and he was mentioning how, hold on here. Time frame is not moving. Nothing is moving.
Did you hit pause?
I don't think it did.
You might have hit the space bar or something. You could play again to see what happens.
Sometimes the, like, when I replay a match, that happens.
Yeah, well, spoiler alert for this one is basically
He quits.
he
quits
tries to start doing
because
stuff and then
of Eidolon.
realizes Eidolon is a card and
Yep.
concedes pretty much right
Exactly.
after this turn.
And that was round 2. Yep, of course.
Yep, that was game 2 of 3.
3
Game
not so
3
well.
was kind
Three
of
was a time
whatever.
where Brad's like,
Um,
don't keep it the hand. I'm like, no, I'm gonna keep the hand.
I was like, this seems really slow, but nobody listens to me.
No one listens to Brad.
Just-
Man, it's like I
Turn
would
two.
have had to have had Path. But
You're right.
again,
You would have had to mulligan until you hit exactly Path to Exile.
exactly one of my 3 paths. Yeah. Ugh. But it's like when you see that. I guess I had 2 opportunities to go Path or even Abrupt Decay.
Right, Path, Abrupt Decay, pretty much anything that kills that Pure Steel Paladin.
Gross. And then here he goes, just boom, boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, and this is one of those decks that they do improve the client as much as they can, because this year could take a long time. I think in the past maybe it did, but
Right, because you had to
this
always
guy-
click on which copy and
yeah,
then click
yeah.
the target.
But this guy's able to.
And now they
speed-
just have same target, same
Yeah.
target, same target, same target is one of the
Yep.
options you can click
Yep.
for it. So, well, again, that match is kind of whatever.
Yeah.
It's basically
It's kind of
do you have the answer?
unfortunate,
No,
right?
okay, you're dead.
Right, yeah. But if you're able to kill those 2 guys, Saram and the other Pure Steel Paladin, then you can win. That's how you beat that deck.
Or if you play like Leyline, like a Leyline of Sanctity, you can't do anything. Pretty much, I mean, there's a handful of cards that just.
Oh, sure, I see what you're saying.
back.
Well, yeah, he can't kill you with Grape Shot, and that is how he prefers to kill you, for sure.
Right. Well,
It's
because
so
otherwise,
long
all
and
those
gruesome.
artifacts that he plays don't buff his
The power.
Pure Steel
Yeah,
Paladin's power. It just
Yep.
buffs their toughness.
yeah, that's true.
Gives him a shitload of other abilities, but he's
Yeah,
a
they get
two. He's
ridiculous,
basically a
yeah.
two something.
Just one
So
creature.
he can cast all the spells he
two-
wants, but they don't
yeah.
play like repeal or any kind of like way to deal with a resolved copy of Leyline of Sanctity.
Yeah.
And that's, in my opinion, that's a card that's criminally underplayed right now. Like, it may be because
Definitely.
white is kind of a crutch. I mean, obviously, if you're doing stuff like this, it's not so much. But if you're playing like a control deck
Oh, sure.
or something like that, which tradition is where you would find copies of Leyline, those decks are kind of a crutch because there's so many things out there, and control decks are only really good when you know the 5 or 6 decks that are out there. Like when you know what you're going into, and that's why I think control, if you look at the modern metagame, is just pretty much non-existent at this point. Is because you can't you can't be prepared for everything when there's so much to be prepared for.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Oh, absolutely. That's a very good point. Yeah, how do you do it? And it's not like it's different type of creature decks.
Mhm.
You know, because then
Well,
it's
case in
easy.
point too, as far as diversity and how quickly things pop up, is this match that we're playing here. This is against Vengevine.
Yeah.
This deck didn't really even pop up until like 2 weeks ago at
Yeah.
the I think it was at that SCG Open in Syracuse. And there was a younger kid who was playing it, and he was on camera twice, 2 or 3 times, and it really brought up. I think his name was like Julian Grace Martin, I think was the guy's name, but he kind of popularized the deck pretty much overnight.
Wow.
And that's why it's been
Him,
popping up.
wow.
And I myself am a big fan of this deck. I actually was just talking to Corbin during this match. I was saying, hey, bring in Recipes and bring in Path to Exile because those cards, pretty obviously are good, but they're backbreaking in my experience because having played against them, they were awful.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
And
Recipes just
and I've built, I've seen a few different versions of the deck, and I think it's really sweet.
He did good because right there, like as you said about that this guy, this
Mm-hmm.
hollow one, he was able to still do that, utilize that, even though I had a rest in peace out there. So, but he did
Right.
eventually just.
And
kinda
that's
give
and
up
that's just
there.
evidence that like this deck, like the Vengevine deck can function even against basic hate cards because somebody plays Recipes. Well, you can sell loot through all your stuff and play a hollow one. You can straight cast a Vengevine. There's ways to fight back against it. So.
Absolutely. Just let anybody and everyone be able to see the actual deck.
The awesomeness that it
sideboard.
is.
Yeah, exactly. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a comment if you like.